Hello. It's been a while. Um, so I sort of debated whether or not this was the kind of shit that I even wanted to cover. Um, I'm not really like a super political, whether that either be left or right or whatever it may be. It's just not something. I guess yeah, in my own private life, like I've got my opinions on shit like everyone does, but it's not really like something that I thought is really ever funny, or entertaining to cover on the channel. Do you know what I mean? Because then you just go down the rabbit hole of being a political guy, and there's enough Hassan Pikers in the world and other people like that on both sides of the spectrum. But anyway, so you know what the video is about from the title and thumbnail. Thumbnail. The Australia traditionally has always been a pretty, I don't want to say conservative because that's not like the exact word I'm looking for, but sort of restrictive in terms of our personal sort of liberties, I guess you would call it, in comparison to other countries or other Western countries, mostly like America. So in terms of the main two ones that come to mind as an example are free speech and gun laws. And again, like I don't really have that much of a nuanced take enough on it for something like gun laws to really get into it. So like whatever your opinion on that shit is, fill your boots, whether it's, you know, no guns or everyone guns, like fucking whatever. But the watching the way Australian politicians over this latest spat that Albo, our Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, is having sort of this back and forth with Elon Musk, about in terms of free speech laws and what the Australian politicians on both sides of the political or like all across the political spectrum are saying is the spreading of disturbing content or violent content or something along those lines, like saying it's in you know, they have a more eloquent way of putting it, but it's just saying it's too fucked up to be spread around on the internet, basically. And the thing I keep thinking is Twitter was always the Wild West. Now that's not an excuse for just anything to go on Twitter or anywhere on the internet. And obviously the real extreme stuff like child exploitation material of any sort, or the whole plethora of stuff like non-consensual, like fucking like snuff it, like just take your pick, like fucking whatever the shit is. Obviously it's Twitter traditionally being a fucked up place isn't a defense for just anything to go. Obviously there's limits, but there's sort of limits that the average person could pretty much guess what the line is sort of themselves, and anyone. But the thing that delineates and that sort of brings this argument to the fore over the last couple of sort of days or however long this has happened is the thing. The thing is, it just all very much seems like boomers discovering the internet for the first time. So the clip that's circulating that is sort of the hot button topic that sort of sparked all this is there was a stabbing that happened. There was a stabbing that happened of a bishop in Sydney, I believe it was. I'm fairly sure that's the clip. I don't think it was the Bondi stabbing that they're all arguing about. It was the stabbing of the bishop during his religious sermon or whatever that he was delivering. And he was stabbed by a young guy. It's being called a terrorist incident. Like, I'm not here to argue whether it was or wasn't terrorism or whether it was just a lone wolf mental health. Whatever. That's not for me to say either way. And I haven't looked into it enough to know really. But the fact that it is such a hot button topic. So what happened this is sort of what I'm sort of theorizing. What happened after the attack happened? There was large groups, large religious groups that obviously supported the bishop. Oh fuck, there you go. Fuck. Every time I start fucking doing a YouTube video, for some reason I get the sleepies. I don't know why, but yeah. So there was obviously mobs of people that were really riled up by it, and they wanted, you know, the police that were holding the guy that did the stabbing to you know, let him out and he'll get like mob justice or whatever was the implication from what, you know, you would think from all the chanting and the clips and stuff that went around. So the clip of him being stabbed is still circulating around Twitter, and that's the thing that's giving all the Australian politicians the shits. Now, I think when you're looking at it from sort of the Labor government, which is our version in Australia of like the leftist, or it's the lefter end of the spectrum is the Labor government. We have more further left shit like the Greens and stuff. But anyway, so they're saying that the clip shouldn't be being circulated, and they have like some form of watchdog that they have this watchdog, this sort of body set up, or this appointed member of the Labor government, I believe it is, that's, what's her name? Julie Inman Grant. So Julie Inman Grant, I'm just looking at the ABC article, which I'm going to go through in a minute because it in and of itself is insane. There's actually one bit in it that I cannot believe my taxpayer money went towards the production of this piece of media. But anyway, Julie Inman Grant has the power to compel social media. Yeah, okay. So this is just the Australian government's sort of watchdog, for lack of a better term, for policing the internet, basically, and making sure that the shit, you know, how would you want to word it? Like, toes the party line is probably the less charitable way to look at it, and the more charitable way to look at it would be something along the lines of ensures the Australian public's safety by protecting what they're being exposed to online, something along those lines. Anyway, it's hard to cover this shit while remaining fairly impartial, because I do lean more in the direction of all the Australian PMs are kind of showing their boomerism here. And the thing is, I'm not saying the spreading of, even saying spreading, it like puts a slant on how you're coming at it. But like, say, I was going to say like putting a slant, spreading the footage of the bishop being stabbed. It's something that's a hot button topic. It's something that happened. And so long as, if we're going to allow Twitter to be accessed by Australians, or X or whatever, I'm just going to call it Twitter because no one calls it fucking X, but if you're going to allow Twitter to be accessed by Australians, then you need to be okay with their content policy standards, their TOS or whatever you would call it. And it's something that happened. It's something that there's a lot of interest in, whether that be people that just simply want to know what happened, don't want to be given the information secondhand. They want to. There is an element of that stuff, even when the footage or what you're being exposed to, the images or whatever, is more extreme or distressing. There is an element of people out there that want to see stuff for themselves and decide for themselves how they feel about it. Elon Musk is saying that it doesn't breach Twitter's TOS. The Australian government are saying that basically, and it's the disappointing thing that really does make all the Aussie pollies look like boomers and stuff, like really like what's a good analogy for it? It just feels like, I don't know, like when your parents first saw an episode of South Park. Like, I know that's like a really distasteful way to probably thing to use as an analogy, given that we're talking about a stabbing. But what I mean by that is someone not understanding the standard of content or the standard of what is permissible in a certain arena, so Twitter in this example, coming into it and then saying, no, this isn't okay, either for reasons of, I would assume if you really got someone like Anthony Albanese to dig into why they don't want this out there, it would be something along the lines of, we don't want to incite violence, or we don't want to further radicalize either end of the religious or political spectrum by having this footage circulating, riling people up, or encouraging, I'm really bending over backwards to sort of see their point of view here, but like encouraging like copycat attacks or something along those lines. But so it's just weird to see everyone all of a sudden obsessed with something like Twitter, and it feels like they're using this incident as a sort of they were waiting for something like this to be able to pull the censorship card and pull it in a big way and say, because of this, therefore we need to have X amount of controls or censorship abilities, and I'm not like a super conspiracy theorist about like, oh, they control what we watch, man. They control what we like. But there is an element of that. And we did see that over the last 4 years with everything that happened. And I think even the most moderate or even the more left-leaning people would say that there was definitely, especially now that the dust has really settled over the last 4 years of everything that went on, there is definitely, I mean, at best, some people on that side of the political spectrum are saying, oh, okay, well, we were kind of like wrong on some of those things, or some of these measures that we implemented were a bit overreaching. At worst, it's just like a silent, or sort of at medium, it's sort of a silent refusal to admit any wrongdoing, and at worst, it's just stubborn mules just refusing to admit that anything was mishandled over the last 4 years, which is kind of a ridiculous point of view to have, I think. And I think that is actually a minority point of view, even amongst those people. Anyway, massive fucking tangent. So it's weird to see everyone over the last 4 years, because we were all locked inside and because of all the shit that went down, become an internet person. Whereas I've been like a long-term fucking gooner from way back that's always, and it's just, it was weird to see Twitter go from Wild West Twitter from back in the day to quite a controlled narrative left-leaning thing later on, to then become again a once Elon took it over, to go back to almost being back to the old days of Wild West Twitter, where he's really going hard on the no censorship thing and the free speech thing. And our standard of free speech isn't what it's weird to even say, because it's either free or it's not. And free speech isn't the freedom to say things that are polite and paint within the lines, and like normal elevator conversation, or general chit chat at a coffee date or something like that. Like, free speech pertains more to more extreme views on anything. And the protection of free speech in places like America, I think, is a good thing, because it only from the point of view of you counter bad speech or you counter poor arguments or what some people would call like hate speech or anything along those lines. You counter that by having a better argument or just, you just have the receipts to be able to argue back against all of those things. And, normal, reasonable thinking adults are going to have the wherewithal to usually land somewhere in the realm of sort of a sensible outlook on nearly any point of view if you present them with enough information. I don't know. Maybe that's maybe that's me giving people a little bit more credit than they're due, but yeah, it's just, I don't know. Like, I'm trying not to be too much of a fence sitter with this thing, because that is really annoying when someone covers a topic and then they just come to the conclusion of, like, it's so annoying to watch content and watch videos of people doing a video or a thing like this, and then it's just like, well, you're just making a video because it's in the news. You didn't offer anything to the conversation, or you didn't at least have the balls to have a stand. And so I will at least have the balls to say that I definitely do fall more on Elon Musk's side of the argument here, in terms of, free speech is important. It is easy to avoid distressing content, realistically. When you're online, you either curate your algorithm to only show you stuff that you're able to see or find. With the children and kids thing, again, it's the responsibility of the parent or the legal guardian of the children to be internet savvy. That is just in my opinion, a fundamental pillar or responsibility of parenting in this day and age. You need to understand the internet. You can't just be like, the bloody computers, they bloody carry on their bloody TikToks. Like, you have to understand it. You have to understand monitoring your kids. You have to understand having in ways and means of monitoring what they're doing online and what they're accessing. Like I was saying, so for the kids thing, you should have the means to be able to protect what your children are looking at online. And for you as an adult, you should have the ability to either avoid looking at distressing content or being served up distressing content or whatever it is. I mean, when I scroll through Twitter, like, I get a fair feed of kind of fucked up shit all the time, like people getting shot, people getting robbed, people getting in fights, car crashes, all that sort of thing. You develop the ability within like 5 minutes of using the platform to just, as you're scrolling through, you're like, yeah, that's something fucked up, I don't want to see that, or whatever. And you have the ability through the way you use the apps to just not be exposed to shit stuff. Like, you just, like, it's weird to me for them to say, like, oh, the Australian public needs protecting, when it feels more like we're being wrapped in cotton wool. But anyway, I want to go through this ABC News article, because it's kind of, I don't actually even really care about what they're saying that much in the article. It's more the tone, and just to think that, I mean, how biased the ABC are could be its own video all of its own. And I really don't want to go too much down this rabbit hole of covering political shit, because it's really not that funny. But it's just kind of wild to see. I'm only covering it because I am like an internet person, and it's weird to see. It's weird to see people like Anthony Albanese and all these people you look at as being like your parents' generation being the ones to make decisions and pass legislation or talk tough with people like Elon Musk, when you just know these are people that are just so out of the loop with the way information is passed back and forth and circulates around the internet. Like, this isn't, it's weird. It's just weird to see old people that you know would struggle to like do anything on a computer beyond send an email or open a, do you know, yeah, it's weird. It's like these are the kinds of people that look at you like you're a genius when you like hook up the HDMI cord to the back of the new TV. Like and they're the ones saying like, "Oh, we should be doing this and we should be doing that and we should be filtering out this and that." And it's like, I get the opposite, or the sort of the opposing view on that would be, well, you don't need to be tech savvy to understand common decency, or it would be something along those lines. But it's just it's not unlike saying, why the fuck did I see a bunch of people fucking when I went to Pornhub.com? It's like Twitter's kind of, that's kind of what Twitter always was. It's not to say that it's good that there's, you know, extreme shit on there, but Twitter is almost kind of like the source of, it's kind of just the source. And then you should have the faculties to decide how you feel about what you're seeing on your own. And I think the thing that really annoys me, the more that I sort of like think out loud about it, is it's not this incident with the stabbing. It's not the shit slinging back and forth between people like Jackie Lambie or Anthony Albanese that just seems really juvenile. Not to say that Elon Musk isn't juvenile the way that he carries on sometimes as well, but it's more the core sentiment of Australians can't figure this shit out for themselves, or they can't decide for themselves how they feel about something, or they can't. They need to have these safe guide rails to be like, oh no, don't look at that. You can't see that. Like, we don't want you seeing that. It's yeah. I'm not one of these like psychos that says like everything completely like. I don't have one of these really gross takes like someone like Vorsh does, or Vaush, or however the fuck that idiot pedophile says his name. But it's, for something like a violent attack or a fight or something, especially when no one died, it's there's more at play here than just, oh, we don't want a footage of like a knife attack out there. We don't want footage circulating that could further rile up certain groups on either side. And it's like, and so therefore our conclusion is it just shouldn't be on the internet for anyone to see. It should be basically scrubbed from history. And it's one of those things where, I don't know. I would tend to like to have more faith in people, in terms of people should be able to see something or choose to see something because they want to know exactly what happened, and not just be told what happened. And like this ABC article comes back to the core of what I was saying, in terms of, it's not just that they want you on guide rails, or they want you to have like the blinker shits on to determine what you do and don't see. It's also when you see your government's news outlet, like something like ABC News, put out articles like this, and this is just, this doesn't even begin to scratch the surface of how biased the ABC is. But it's like when it's your, and someone will definitely correct me, but your country's or your state-sponsored media, I guess, would be the super cringe way to put it. But when you see them putting such a slant on a story like this, instead of just reporting the facts, it's disappointing, and it makes you think like, well, what else that I wasn't allowed to see the actual footage of, or wasn't allowed to see the receipts of, is being relayed to me through the lens or through the slant of however, or, you know, the media body or the media organization that's giving you that information is giving you that info. So yeah, this has been a pretty rambly fucking video, but I'll how fucking long's this shit so far? Yeah, okay. Well, fuck it, I'm already wasting time anyway, and this is gonna be like a 0 view video, so we might as well just fucking watch this shit. Okay, yeah. So this is the...
How far is the government willing to go? And looking at new powers, how far is it willing to go to take on Elon Musk, who really has hit back on the social media platform again overnight?
We'll do what's necessary to take on this arrogant billionaire who thinks he's above the law.
See, shit like that, man. That's like... That's so disappointing to hear the leader of your country speak like that. And I don't even mean particularly in the... Even if what he was saying was something I agreed with. Say he was saying this about something that I did think was an arrogant fucking billionaire. And I was like totally on board with what he was saying. It's still a very poor leadership quality and a poor... like, it just undermines his authority to engage in shit slinging like this. And it's so disappointing to hear the leader of your country not be, again, like, I know it's like a cringe thing to say, but a little bit more stoic and a little bit more sort of immovable, or not as emotionally swayed by a back and forth over, you know, fucking Twitter policy. Like, it's just... He would gain so much more respect and so much more, yeah, it's just not the way to do it. Like,
law, but also above common decency. What the East Safety Commissioner is doing is doing her job to protect the interests of Australians. And the idea that someone would go to court for the right to put up violent content on a platform shows how out of touch Mr. Musk is. Social media needs to have social responsibility with it. Mr. Musk is not showing any.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, and I know, like, I mean, the way he talks, bro, seriously. I know that's such a low blow, and I just literally had to go at him for shit slinging, but it's just like, how do you not laugh at that? Like, it's just some old boomer like, Mr. Musk has the responsibility. Like, it's fucking...
Arrogant billionaire who thinks he's above the law, but also above common decency. What the East Safety Commissioner is doing is doing her job.
So this is disappointing as well, this bit where he's saying, like, why would someone fight for the right to put out violent content? And it's like, you know, that's not what he's doing, man. That's such a straw man. I think that's the way you're supposed to use that term. That's such a, like, a bad faith argument. You know, that's not what he's doing, man. Like, his whole shit is free speech and the freedom to access information in terms of things that have happened, especially hot button topics like this.
To protect the interests of Australians. And the idea that someone would go to court for the right to put up violent content.
It's just, dude. Like, how? Surely you yourself don't believe that this is what the case is. Do you know what I mean? Like, I guess from their point of view, it's a thing of like, I don't know. But anyway, so that's the clip, and then the rest of the article is, it takes a special kind of. So yeah, it takes a special kind. Let me zoom in on this shit a bit. It takes a special kind of person to attract universal criticism across Australia's federal political landscape. For Elon Musk, the controversial owner of the social media platform formerly known as Twitter, the backlash he's facing is likely something he'll wear as a badge of honor. Okay. He's been called an egotistical billionaire by Cabinet Minister Tanya Plibersek, a narcissistic cowboy by Greens Senator Sarah Hanson-Young, and an absolute friggin' disgrace by Tasmanian independent Jackie Lambie, and an arrogant billionaire who thinks he's above the law by Prime Minister Albanese. So, okay, they're building their case for everyone across the political spectrum is pissed off. You've got the Greens, you've got Jackie Lambie, who's usually fairly pretty right wingish, I want to say. She does have some fairly, I mean, she's had a pretty based moments here and there, but also, you know, shit like this does really show her age and show how cringe she can be. But okay, so coalition wants putting aside its usual defense of free speech rights to suggest Musk is pursuing an insulting and offensive argument in his refusal to remove graphic footage of a stabbing in a Sydney church last week. Okay. The incident, which authorities quickly called an act of terrorism, saw Bishop Ma Murray Emmanuel hospitalized with lacerations to his head after being lunged at with a knife during a mass that was being broadcast online. The footage of the incident spread across social media platforms, prompting Australia's e-safety commission. E-safety commissioner, damn. It's just so fucking... The fact that we have... And this is the other thing. So they're talking about Australia's e-safety commissioner. And back in the clip that I just played, he's talking about the e-safety commissioner's just doing a job. And it's like... If you give me an enormous salary and call me, you know, the peanut M&M inspector integrity commissioner, and what I do is go around like making sure that the M's are printed correctly on, or that every peanut M&M is of a predetermined weight and size. To me, do you know what I mean? Of course I'm going to do my job if it's an enormous salary, no matter how ridiculous the job is that you set up for me. Like if you give me a dumb job but pay me a shitload, they're saying that and I fucking know people hate this argument, but that I was just doing my job. But it's like anyone's just going to do their job if they're getting paid a shitload, no matter how ridiculous the job is. But anyway, so... Hey, Smush, hang on. My dogs are yapping for dinner, but I don't think... No, it's not dinner time yet, Pam. If it was... okay. Meta, the owner of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. Meta, the owner of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp agreed, while Musk's company X threatened its legal action. Yeah, okay, so Meta backed down, obviously, because Zuck always tends to play it safe. If it was a legal fight that Musk was wanting to get into, Inman Grant beat him to the court and won a 2-day injunction against X for only blocking the content in Australia. At the time of writing, the video remains online and is actively being promoted by crossbench senator elected under Clive Palmer's... Okay. Actively promoted is a weird way to put that, where... Whatever. So the case sparks questions about the reach of Australian law. The whole saga offers a timely reminder of how far the world has come in such a short time. So this is the bit of the article that's fucking insane to me. Like, this was written by an alleged actual real journalist. Get a load of this. It was only in 2008 that Supreme Court Justice Betty King banned the crime drama Underbelly from being broadcast in Victoria. It was a simpler time. TV episodes were broadcast weekly. Streaming was barely a thing, and getting the episodes to Victoria almost required the shelving of a USB. Maybe don't Google that at work to get it across state lines. Are you fucking serious? This is the fucking ABC, and this is a sentence that was written. Like, insane. And obviously, I'm not one to talk in terms of, but not the fucking ABC talking about shelving a fucking USB. And for any of my a boomer audience out there, that you're talking about like sticking a fucking shit up your ass. The fucking the ABC is making boofing fucking USB jokes. Again, it's like, I don't give a fuck, but not from the ABC, man. Come on. Or ABC News. Obviously, ABC's always fucking had their finger in the pie of like, or not their, like, has always had comedy and shit. But in a news article, like, what the fuck? Anyway, yeah. So, but the whole article, I mean, fucking. If you really want to put yourself through it, you can find the article by just searching Elon Musk and Anthony Albanese's church attack spat isn't about free speech. So this is the shit that they were, yeah, it's about power. So it's just, this is the title of the shit. It's, yeah, but it's just like, just such extreme boomerism. Yeah, I don't know. So, like I said, this will probably get no fucking views whatsoever, and I don't want to be a political guy, but it just seemed like something that had enough crossover with the fucking random internet bullshit that I cover. Yeah.